breaks 3 minutes early. Happy Saturday, you guys. Happy Saturday. Can you hear me? Can you see me? You know how it goes. If you're here early, that means you have to be the help crew. So you have to tell me if you can hear me and if you can see me. That's what I would like to know. Happy Saturday. Merry Christmas Eve. Or happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. I don't want anybody to be offended. You know what I mean? So, I'm here early. Let's make sure if you're on here, let me know if you can hear me. I can hear and see you. Yes and yes. Thanks, you guys. Thank you. Hey, thank you guys. Make sure hear and see me. I've already got the yes you can. Yes, you can hear me and see me. I'm on here a little early. I guess we'll talk about like auctions and stuff. I mean, I think that's what most of y'all want me to talk about anyway. Foreclosure auctions, what's going on in the auction, foreclosure market. And then I just always answer questions, right? So if you got questions, let me know. We got 3 minutes. People are coming on. Happy Saturday. Of course, you got to tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're from. I promise I'm not going to ask you a million questions. You don't have to touch your neighbor and none of that. Just tell me where you're from because I like to see where people are from. I always have Atlanta, Cali, Florida. We all represent. So I was just trying to see where is everybody from. You bought my... Thank you. I hope... Look, I poured my whole brain into that course. Like I poured my whole brain into that course. Like... Miami, I knew Miami. Mississippi, okay. Neighbor, Chicago, Chi-Town. Y'all know I was born in Chicago, right? Yes, Alabama. Come on, your first time live. Merry Christmas, happy Saturday. You guys tell me where you're from. So anyway, the course, yes. So you guys, the coupon code is birthday, okay? Birthday because Memphis, yay. Birthday is the coupon code for the auction accelerator. The price is going back up January 1st. If you need to learn how to find, analyze, bid on auction properties, all of my links are below. Use code birthday, okay? Because my birthday was last Saturday. So, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I poured my whole brain into that. I got like 1 more minute. My whole brain. Like, that's why I gave you a property tracker, all the tax websites, all the county websites, a repair bid calculator. I just gave everything in that course. Use code birthday. Live in Vegas, but I buy in Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio is always on our foreclosure list. It is always, if you've been on here before, you know, anytime somebody, usually when somebody says a city, I'm like, my brain goes into, okay, what list are they on? Foreclosure list. Cleveland stays on some kind of, one of our lists, like one of our top foreclosure lists. We'll go over that. It's almost 8 o'clock, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell me where you're from. Everybody can still hear me, see me clearly. And then we will jump in tonight. I didn't know if I was going to go live tonight because it's like Christmas. And I know people are like with family. But I was like, you know, somebody might be at home. Somebody might jump on here. So I figured might as well, right? Might as well. Let me see. Let me pull up this article. Good evening, Maryland. Woo woo. We got the Northeast. We got Chicago, we got Memphis, we got Alabama, Mississippi, live in Vegas, but buy in Cleveland. I got you. I got you. I feel like it's all East Coast or Midwest East going on. And Miami. I saw Miami. Okay, it's 8 o'clock, you guys. So let's jump in real quick. Let me do the introduction in case you are new here. And I always forget to do the introduction, you guys. Okay, so I'm Ashley Pickens, you guys, just like YouTube, just like when I'm on YouTube. California, okay, we got some West Coast. Okay, oh, thank you. Ashley Pickens here in Memphis, Tennessee, you guys. I have been in real estate since 2006 as a real estate broker. As a real estate agent. Then I became a real estate broker over a firm. And then I have, and then I have been an auctioneer. That is why you are here. I feel like that's where everybody found me because I am like the unicorn, right? I'm like an auctioneer a female auctioneer that you didn't know even existed, right? So I auction off foreclosures at the courthouse, and I've done that for the last 6 years, you guys. So I am contracted through attorneys that represent the banks. So I auction off foreclosures at the courthouse. Yes, people actually auction off foreclosures at the courthouse. So I started creating videos. I have over 200 videos on YouTube. I also talk with my hands. So just so we know that, get that out of the way, I talk with my hands. I have 200 videos on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube sharing information about foreclosure auctions, what to do, because half of y'all have no idea where, when, how, why you even find foreclosures, right? I feel like it's still really secretive, still really hush, hush, hush. Most of the guys that come to the auctions here in Memphis have been coming for years, like decades, years, and it's very seldom that I see new people at the auction. So I was like, let me share, right? I could literally just go auction off foreclosures, get back in my car, and go home. But did I do that? No. I started making videos for y'all, right? So I usually have like the number 1 or 2 video on YouTube for auctions, how to buy a house at the auction. So that is what I'm here sharing, everything that I know. Y'all ask me any questions that you have, and I will try to answer them. So there you go. There's my little introduction. Okay, so first of all, you know I tell y'all to follow Daily Job Cuts, right? Daily Job Cuts. Y'all know whose video made Daily Job Cuts again? Me. My video made it again, which I did not know until I just literally went on here and looked on dailyjobcuts.com. And I saw an article, and it was like 5 million people in foreclosure. And I was like, who is talking about foreclosures? And then I clicked on it, and it was me. It was me. So, dailyjobcuts.com. I think that's where some people found me too. So welcome if you are new here. Ask any questions that you have when it comes to foreclosures, auctions, REO properties. I try to answer as much as I possibly can. Okay. So anybody got any questions that they want to kick off real quick? If not, y'all know I can talk. Like I can take this and run with the whole thing. So let's talk about, if you have a question, just throw it in. So I went over last time, I kind of went over November's numbers in foreclosure, but I will recap that really quick in case you missed it. Let's talk about really quick the cities with the highest foreclosure rates right now going on in the United States. So cities, we have Bakersville, California, Cleveland, Ohio. I told you, y'all are always on my list. Cleveland, Canton, Ohio, Columbia, South Carolina, and Stockton, California. If you know anything about the last housing downturn, because you know you're literally not allowed to say crash or recession or any of those words. So the last housing market downturn, Stockton, California was like the epicenter of the last downturn. And they are back on the list again. Also, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, Riverside, California, Las Vegas is on that foreclosure list, you guys. And real quick, we'll talk about REO properties. So, quick scoop on REO properties, because I think a lot of people get that kind of confused. A lot of people are like, Ashley, I want to come see you at the auction. I want a foreclosure. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Most people don't want a foreclosure from me at the auction. Everybody's risk level is not set to Ashley at the courthouse. Like, that's not everybody's life, okay? Because at the courthouse, you know, you guys, you can't see the inside of those properties, right? You are bidding blind. People could still live in there. It could be title issues. That's not everybody's life, right? But everybody wants a foreclosure. What you really want is an REO. That is where everybody's risk, blood pressure is set on, REO, okay? So an REO, real quick, real estate owned by the bank, those are properties that have gone up for auction and I couldn't sell them, right? So they revert back to the bank, okay? So once they revert back to the bank, that's like HUD Home Store, homesteps.com, homepath.com is where you find REO properties, right? And so now the bank owns them. You can get a home inspection. You can use traditional financing. You can go in the property and see it. You know what I mean? You can back out of the deal. You can negotiate with the bank. If you watch me, you know I always say negotiate with the bank, right? Negotiate price, negotiate repairs, negotiate appliances, negotiate with the bank when it comes to REO properties, okay? So you can't negotiate with me at the auction, right? So most people's blood pressure level is set to REO, okay? It's not set to me at the auction, even though I would love to have you. It's most people just not there. And at the auction, it's cash. You know, you have to have the complete amount in certified funds. So some people's blood pressure is set to auction, but a lot of people's bank account is not set to auction, okay? So, but keep in mind, REO properties, you can use traditional financing like a conventional loan or FHA 203K with REO bank-owned properties. So that's why I keep telling y'all, don't buy flat screen TVs and pay your credit cards down because you can get financing when the bottom falls out. You can still get a foreclosure. You might just can't come see me at the courthouse, but you can still get an REO property, right? You know, I said this last time, Signature Bank that collapsed at the beginning of the year, they sold their commercial properties for 69 cents on the dollar, right? So in the last crash, people bought properties for half off, 50 cents on the dollar. Y'all know I'm buying my beach house for $32.17. So all I'm saying is get your credit right, save some money, don't max out your credit cards. I hope none of y'all maxed your credit cards out for Christmas. And if you've been on this channel enough, you know no flat screens. You weren't supposed to buy any flat screens. You're just going to have to watch whatever you have at your house right now. Because we are all getting prepared for the coming up market, right? Everybody's talking about, well, people are predicting, nobody really knows, right? Summer 2024. Summer 2024 is when the veteran loan extension will be lifted. I'm sure they will put another extension in place come January, you know, because it is an election year too, right? So, you know, they're going to put some more assistance in place, probably another moratorium in place, probably extend the foreclosures, you know what I mean? Because they already extended the veterans. So, and they said FHA has almost FHA said almost 20% of their loans are in default right now. So, y'all know the COVID extension just ended November 30th, right? So, I'm sure they did not make them pay a mortgage for December. So, everybody who was covered will probably have to pay a mortgage January 1st. Is what I'm, in my brain, is how I've calculated. Not that I can calculate how our government works, but I would think that if the extension ended in November 30th, they weren't going to make them pay a mortgage payment December 1st, right? So they'll probably say your mortgage payment will be due January 1st since you're just coming out of this forbearance, right? And then when all those people miss that first payment or that second payment, then I'm sure some more red flags will go up and then they will probably put another moratorium or something in place to try to figure out what they're going to do with all these people who have not paid their mortgage and who probably cannot afford to pay their mortgage. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. So we'll see. But people are saying summer 2024, but we don't know. All I'm saying is get ready. If you get ready, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Boom. Boom. So back to REO properties. That was like the scenic route to describe REO properties. It's the properties that don't sell at auction, okay? So states with the greatest number of REOs. Michigan with 247, California with 228, Illinois with 198, Ohio with 191, and Pennsylvania with 179. In the cities, Detroit, Michigan, Chicago, New York City, Baltimore, and St. Louis. Because honestly, you guys, the banks really aren't foreclosing right now. We have not foreclosed on people in like 3 years, just to be honest, right? When I talk to the attorneys, they're like, we haven't foreclosed on people in like 3 years. Since COVID, you guys. There are people who have not paid their mortgage in we're going on 4 years. Because next year is 2024. COVID was 2020. 2020 is like a curse word that you can't even say, right? Like, that's what I always say. Like, ain't that some 2020? That's just. But the point is, a lot of people have just not paid their mortgage since 2020. You know, I always read that article. That's the article, you guys. That is the article that I read on the video, and I put it on YouTube, and it has gone completely viral, right? I think a lot of y'all found me from that YouTube video. It's got like 800,000 views, right? So I got a little heat from some people because, okay, you guys, so like maybe I didn't, so I always, you guys, you know, I always talk about foreclosures, the numbers, all that kind of stuff, right? So in the video, I didn't realize it in the video. But in the video, you know, I read the article of like 5 million people behind on their mortgage, right? And then I went out of that topic and was like, oh yeah, you guys, don't forget if you want to buy auction properties, I made a list of auction websites for you, right? So I guess to some people that was really insensitive that I gave the people behind the stats on people behind on their mortgage and then turned around and gave out some auction websites. Like I'm capitalizing off of people who are behind on their mortgage. When literally, I give those stats every month. They just happen to find me. Some of y'all just happen to find me on that one video. So, you know, I saw a couple of the comments, but you guys, like almost 6,000 people have downloaded the auction websites. And if you want it, look, if you didn't get it, the link is in the description. Auction websites, I found them for you. It's residential, commercial, government owned, land. It's 4 of them. I found 4 lists for you. Land, residential, commercial, and government owned auction websites. It's absolutely free. Go get it and use it, right? Click on the links. You can find properties in all those different categories. So your auction mama got a little heat because I did a video, but you know what I mean. How can you get pre-foreclosures in Atlanta? So auction properties. Is that what you're asking me? David, you want auction properties, pre-foreclosures before they go to auction, or pre-foreclosures like, well, yeah, before they go to auction properties or before they go to auction? But I'll answer that question anyway. So most of the time, if you're looking for auction properties, the best way to find them is to look up the public notices, right? So let's have a little quick auction 101. I'm going to take you to school real quick. So, y'all, I do this every time. If you've been on here before, you're going to be like, Ashley, really? But y'all bear with me. Everybody who's been on here before, okay? So, auctions, when people say look in the paper, right? You're looking in the paper for the public notice, right? So you can Google, because it is 2024, 23. What is this? It'll be 2024 like next week, okay? So Google your county, like I live in Shelby County public notices, right? And they're usually in like a smaller paper, okay? Like it's not ever in like the New York Times or anything like that. Here it's in the Daily News. It's the smaller publication. And you are looking for their public notices. And it's the notice, basically, when a homeowner gets behind on their mortgage, let's say 3 months, the attorney will send the homeowner a notice. Acceleration notice? Reinstatement notice? It's one of them, you guys. And it says basically you have 30 days to pay your past due amount, or your house is going up for auction in 30 days. Basically, that's the notice that is filed, right? So they file it 30 days before the auction. That's that's a great place to find pre-foreclosure. Look in the smaller paper or Google, what did I say? Your county public notices. Okay, that's a great way. And if you're looking for auction properties, y'all, people, I don't know why y'all don't believe me. Like auction.com is a great place. Like auction.com, Hubzu, places like that. Auction.com has a new feature, foreclosure predict. Like they predict properties that are going into foreclosure. I'm sure it's like people who are behind on their mortgage. You're welcome. People who are behind on their mortgage and, you know, like pre foreclosures, right? So look on there, auction.com. Like the auctions that I do at the courthouse are on auction.com. When you're on there, you just look on the side at the location on auction.com, and it'll say, like if it's at the courthouse or if it's here in Memphis, they auction at the Conference Inn. You're welcome. They auction at the Conference Inn. So that's how you know where the auction is going to be. But they put my trustee sales on auction.com. Okay, so auction.com is a great place to look, or Google your county public notices. And you got to look a little bit, but you should find them. And you are in, David, where are you? Did you say you were in Alabama? Did you say you were in Atlanta? But that's a great place to find pre-foreclosures, you guys. Also, like I said, at the auction, you guys, I only take cash at the auction. There are some platforms that let you pay a deposit or something like that, and then after 24 hours, you can pay the rest. I've heard of that. Me, however, at the courthouse, I need the entire amount in full as soon as the auction is over. So if it's $5,000, $50,000, $500,000, I need it in full as soon as the auction is over. I posted another video. Most people buy cashier's checks in increments, you guys. Let's see, I always got some kind of prop around here. Here we go. Pretend that this is the right way, and it doesn't look like a third grader made it, okay? So, a lot of people buy cashier's checks in increments, right? Because I don't give change. I don't have change for $100,000. So, people will buy increments. So, you can buy like $5,000, $20,000 cashier's checks is the same as one $100,000 cashier check, right? But keep in mind, refunds come in the mail. So a lot of people don't want $20,000 or $30,000 coming back to them in the mail. You know, so get increments, especially if you are going to bid on multiple properties, okay? Also, make the cashier's check payable to yourself, okay? Can you pay with American Express? Not at my auction. I don't have a credit card machine at the courthouse. Buy and sell with mail. I'm sorry, I don't carry around a credit card machine. So, I think you can do like on tax sales. Can you do like that with tax? Because you pay online, right? Tax sales. I don't know. I don't do tax sales. But for me, look, as for me in my house, me in the courthouse, we don't take American Express. But some other platforms might take it. You know what I mean? So just check and see the different platforms. Hey, Daniel, how are you? Use your system to purchase. Yes. So that begs the process. It's been interesting. You got to lead with love, Daniel. You got to lead with love. Daniel, I posted your review today in one of the videos in my reel. There's Daniel. Look, I don't even make up my testimonials. They're really actual real people. My people are actually real. He got the auction accelerator and has bought properties. Look, Daniel, see, he's right there. He can vouch for it. Are they properties in Memphis? Look, I would say lead with love, but a lot of people in Memphis, they might not understand the lead with love part. But one of the guys in my mentorship, he's in New York, and he bought a building in New York, and it was occupied, right? So he sent letters and They called him back, right? And now they want to buy the property back from him. And he just bought it out of auction. So, and those are the tenants who are living there. So now he's trying to decide if he wants to. I think he said he got that property. He was in New York, and y'all know New York prices are ridiculous. Merry Christmas, Daniel. I didn't mean not to say that. So I think the property was worth like $800,000, and he got it for like $400,000 in New York, and it had people living in it. So, like in the course, I give you like cash for keys letters, and I always say lead for love, like with the lead with love. And people in the mentorship, you know, I tell them like, you gotta, because they're in your house, right? That's the other thing. When you buy properties at the auction, people can still live in the house, right? So you don't want them to tear up your property, right? So you kind of gotta lead with love. And in his case now, he's like, now the people are like, we want to buy it back from you. So that's what they are working on right now. And New York prices are ridiculous. New York prices and New York's rental laws. No shade to New York, right? It was a steal, right? It totally, for $400,000, I think it was like a brownstone in New York. He got it at the auction. So, yeah. But New York, gosh, y'all's rental stuff, y'all have that rental cap and stuff, like, that's a lot. One in Memphis, one in West Memphis. The difference between the two states is interesting. Much easier, faster in Memphis. You know, Arkansas, like, that's, no shade if you in Arkansas, right? No shade at all. None. Like, when I talk about Mississippi, I always, like, Mississippi, y'all know, like, let's not do this. Eviction process faster and easier in Memphis. I feel like Arkansas probably never mind. All I was going to say is a lot of times in the South, y'all know, like, let's not do this. In the South, a lot of things are slower in the South. Like I always tell y'all, in Mississippi, I have to go file the public notices. Like I have to go to the land and record office in Hernando, Mississippi, right? Whereas everywhere else, like Shelby County, you can just email it over and they can post the notice for you, right? Mississippi, they send me the notice and I have to go to the land and records office and then they file it. In Mississippi, they are still posting the notices like on a bulletin board, like, you know, like that old, like 1975. Right? They still got it on a bulletin board. It's just slower in some places here. So I can imagine. No shade to Arkansas because it's some great places in Arkansas. Like Little Rock. They got like some gorgeous houses in Little Rock. West Memphis. But I know like they need like properties there in West Memphis. People are always like, Ashley, do I work Arkansas? And I don't work Arkansas. But I know there are people, you know what I mean? There's auctions that go on in Arkansas and all kinds of stuff. Daniel, go ahead and just take over all of West Memphis. You know, I'm all for the takeover. You live in Alabama, look for property in Atlanta. Got you. Atlanta's auction. So y'all know Atlanta and Texas, their auctions are what? That first Thursday of the month, right? It's all, y'all's list is already long for January. What is it? Is it January 2nd? Is the first Tuesday or the first Thursday in Atlanta, in Georgia and Texas? Auctions off the, like, so many. That's how one girl got in my mentorship, actually. She went to the auction in Atlanta. I've told this story before. And she said the opening bid was like 50,000, right? Was it 50,000? No, the opening bid was like 20,000. Tuesdays. Thank you, guys. The opening bid, I think she said was 20 or 30,000. She went with her 50,000, right? This is her first time, right? She took the course. She's like, Ashley, I'm going. I did the due diligence. I'm going to the auction. I said, okay. She gets there. The first bid out the gate was $60,000. So she was like, y'all knocked me out the water. So that's when she called me and we talked. And I was like, maybe you need to try to get to the people before they go to auction, right? And then that's how she got the mentorship. And like, she's a nurse. And I always tell people this. She's a nurse, right? And she has had the most luck with people calling her back. right? Because in the mentorship, I teach different ways to market. Everybody knows that I mail letters, right? Everybody has seen me. I've mailed for the last 3 years. There's other methods. Pick one, pick all four, right? And she mails, right? She mails letters. That's one of the methods. And she had somebody call her back the first batch she sent out. And I think it's because people resonate. And she says that she's a nurse, like in the letter, like she's a nurse, you know, and people, and I mean like nice houses in Atlanta. I was like, first batch out the gate. And so, but I know my point is, there I go taking the scenic route again. Atlanta's auctions, there can be a lot of people there, right? That's what I'm saying. At the courthouse here in Shelby County, y'all, it's like 4 or 5 people there. And it's like the same 4 or 5 people there for the past 6 years. It's the same 4 or 5 people at the auction. And like, I'm usually like the only woman at the auction. So it just depends where you live. Florida, Texas, Atlanta. I know in Chicago, like, they have a lot going on at the auctions in Chicago. I think they have like tax sales in one room, foreclosure sales in another room. Like, they have it all going on. So, you know, that's why I tell you, if you watched any of my videos, you know I say go to the auction before you go to the auction, right? Practice. The auction is free, right? You don't have to pay a registration fee. Go, you guys, go figure out where you're going to park, figure out who the auctioneer is, figure out where the auction is, how many people are there, like how quickly it gets bid up. Here in Shelby County, we usually go up by like hundreds, you know, but I don't know in Atlanta or Florida or California, y'all might be going up by like 10,000s and that kind of stuff. But we usually go up by hundreds unless it's a big commercial property, like unless I'm auctioning off like an apartment building where it's like $1 million, you know, the attorneys are like, you ain't doing $100, right? They're like, I think last one was like $100,000. Like everybody had to go up by $100,000 increments. So I am in Tennessee. So I auction in, y'all, I forgot I left that out. I auction in Shelby County, the surrounding counties here, Mississippi, and sometimes I'm in Nashville auctioning. So, hold on, I missed a question. Tuesday, right. That's what I was going to look at really quickly. It is that Tuesday, and that's like Texas and Georgia. That's when y'all have huge auctions. I want to make sure I didn't hit any question. And then everybody else, like kind of California. Here in Tennessee, we auction. Shelby County is Friday. I'm usually in Mississippi on Thursdays, but it could be any. Like when back in 2020, like I always, this is my schedule in 2020, right? It could be any day of the week, honestly. They try to like set it sometimes like on Fridays because I prefer Fridays, right? But it could be really any days. But it's Friday, usually Shelby County. DeSoto County is usually Thursdays. And then it just depends on if it's like some rural county that I have to go to. What was I saying? I talked about cashier's checks, make them payable to serve. Go to the auction. That's what I was saying. Go to the auction before you actually bid, so you can figure out where it is. Here in Shelby County, it's like 6 entrances to the courthouse here in Shelby County, right? So you kind of need to find out where the auctioneer is. I always say, don't assume you know what the auctioneer looks like, because there's been many people who missed an auction because they didn't think it was me. I had this one guy who didn't even get mad at me, right? Because he missed the auction. And I was literally standing there with people around me, but he was like, I don't know what he said. Like, he was upset at me because he missed the auction. Because he didn't think I was the auctioneer, right? So don't assume what you think the auctioneer looks like. That's why you go early, so you can peep out who the auctioneer is, right? Where you park, where the room is, all that kind of stuff, okay? And back to kind of like what we're talking about with auctions, right? So if you buy a property up for auction, People can live in it, right? My two biggest due diligences that you have to do: drive by that property and check the title, right? There are others, but those are the two most important to me. Those rank like number 1 and 2. Drive by the property, you guys, for numerous reasons. People could live there, right? You need to know if you're going to have to evict somebody, right? Now, sometimes you can tell basically, sometimes, if somebody's living in the property, right? That's why you drive by in the daytime and you drive by in the nighttime, right? I always say this. In the daytime, it could be nice and quiet and everybody's at work, right? And then at nighttime, it could be the trap house, right? It could be the crack house. You don't know, right? So drive by in the daytime, drive by at the nighttime, because if you buy a property with people living in it, you guys, you're going to have to evict them, right? Daniel, right? Like, you'll have to go through, you could do cash for keys. You know, you can try to talk to them nicely and see when they want to, maybe you can arrange for them to move out. But if not, you're going to have to go to court, right? You're going to have to go to court, file that eviction, and that costs money, right? So you have to calculate that in your maximum bid amount, right? So drive by, you need to check for repairs. Keep in mind, auction properties, you can't see the inside of the property, right? REO properties, right? If they don't sell at auction, go to the bank, you can go inside, you can get an inspection. Auction properties, you can't see the inside of those properties, right? Not at all, right? You can, but you still need to drive by. Like, you can check the roof, you can check windows, you can check the siding, you can look at the landscape. Like, you've got to estimate the repairs that you can estimate, right? Because all of that goes into your maximum bid, right? Keep that in mind. You got to bring all your coins to the auction, right? So you got to know how much you can spend and still make some money, right? So repairs, look at the repairs you can see, and then you're going to have to allow cushion for those repairs that might be on the inside, right? Make sure if somebody's living in the property, check out the neighborhood, right? You know, and make sure the property is still there, right? Like, especially if it's been postponed. I always say this, you guys, auction properties get postponed all the time. All the time, okay? So if the property is going up for auction in January, right, you need to drive by, look at the property before the auction. It might get postponed to, let's say, March or April. You need to drive by that property again in March or April, okay? Do not trust Google, Trulia, Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, nothing, okay? Don't trust any of those. Somebody needs to actually lay eyes on that property. I have heard of people buying like a pile of dirt at the auction, because a lot of these properties might be up for condemnation, anything, right? They could catch on fire, right? What if the tenants get mad and burn it down, right? What I always say, the storms have been storming, right? What if a tree falls on it, right? Right? So that's going to blow your whole repair budget out of the water if a tree falls on the house, right? So even if it gets postponed 7 times, drive by 7 times, okay? Like 24, 48 hours before the auction. Even if you are buying out of town, right? Pay somebody, right? Send them some gas money and say, hey, go drive by this property. Take a picture of it for me. If you're not scared, you know, maybe walk around to make sure there's a back of the house just because there's a front of the house. You know what I mean? But be very careful doing that. I did not say get out and walk around anybody's house. But I'm just saying, figure out a way to look at the whole house is all I'm saying. Or I don't know if you got to circle the block and peek through, or I don't know. But if you're about to drop off like $100,000 on a property, you kind of need to see as much as you can see. That's all I'm saying. What else was I going to say? Yeah, make sure the property's there, drive by, and title search, right? That is like the biggest. Most investors are fine with buying a property that they cannot see, that they can't see the inside of. Most investors have no problem doing that, honestly, right? If the numbers make sense, they're going to buy it, right? However, the thing that stops most investors from buying at the auction is title search. That whole buying the wrong lien, which is a valid concern, right? Because you can buy the wrong lien at the auction and then you just wasted your coins, right? Your feelings gonna be hurt all year. Your feelings gonna be hurt the rest of the year. Probably the next 2 years, depending on how much money you spend and lose, right? Because if you buy the wrong lien, you're not gonna be able to take ownership of that property. Does everybody understand title and how that works? Let's do 1 for yes, 2 for no. If I need to give you like a quick breakdown of title. 1 for yes, 2 for no, I don't understand, Ashley. And tell me. But 1, yes, Ashley, I heard you describe it a million times. I don't want to hear it again. You talk too much already. No, 2. Thanks, Tammy. Tammy's like, no, 2. Okay. I will, any more 2s? Any more 2s? Tammy's the only one who spoke up. So, Tammy, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on title. Okay, there's another 2. Okay. So, at the auction, you guys, this is my normal auction 101 title breakdown, okay? So, at the auction, keep in mind, follow me here. If you don't understand, type in, Ashley, I don't understand, and slow down. So, let me explain to you. Let me think of how I usually start this off. When I auction off a property, right, first of all, I don't know whether it's a first lien, second lien, anything like that. So, let me kind of tell you, first of all, the difference between first liens and second liens, okay? So, first liens. Bear with me here. I'm going to use the analogy of kings in a castle, right? Let's talk about the castle, right? So think of a deck of cards, right? King, castle, let's do this. Kings, think about that, hold, and I don't play cards like that, so if I'm wrong, just roll with my story, okay? We're going to say kings hold the most power, right? If you get to the king, you get the castle, which is going to be the property, all right? King of the castle. Boom. Okay. So, kings, which we're going to call first liens, okay, hold the most power, hold the most ownership. If you are in the king or first lien position, you get ownership of that house, okay? So, now let's talk about what are kings or what liens look like that. So, a first lien is when you go out and you buy a house and you go house hunting and you get a pre-approval letter for $300,000 and you buy a house, right? Wells Fargo, not Wells Fargo. Not Bank of America. Not even Navy Federal. Y'all know what I'm saying. You get approved for a loan, right? For $300,000, right? And that's that loan where you sign and you hold the keys and you say, oh my gosh, I love my realtor, just sold. That loan, the biggest loan, $300,000, that's a first lien, right? When you want to sell that property, you pay off that and you sell the property, right? First lien, that's a king. What are some other kings that hold the same power? You've got HOA, okay? So we're going to be like kings up here. Just bear with me in my poses. So primary loan, that first loan, I don't know, we'll just say the first loan, $300,000 smile with your realtor loan, okay? HOA can foreclose on you, you guys. HOA has the power of a king. They can foreclose on you and take your property, okay? Primary mortgage, don't pay your mortgage and they can take your home and foreclose on you. Who else? Taxes. Mispaying your taxes for a couple years, they can foreclose on you. Tax sales, right? Don't pay your taxes. You go to a tax sale, you get that property. So we're going to call those the 3 kings. Look at us in Christmas time. Look at me. So we got the 3 kings, right? Primary, HOA, and taxes. Get any of those and you have ownership of the property, okay? Now, let's talk about liens. We're going to call them jacks, okay? Jacks have a little power, but they don't have as much power as the king. Everybody with me? Let me know if you're with me, okay? So, jacks. Let's talk about what those look like, okay? My point, and I'll circle back around. Second liens. That's why I always like you buy the first lien. Let's talk about what second liens are. So, to recap, first liens, primary, HOA, taxes. Second liens, down here. HELOCs, okay? Home equity line of credit, okay? That is, you bought your house, the king, for $300,000. You get in there, you look at the kitchen, and it's still got that rooster paper, that rooster wallpaper border, and you're like, no. So, you got a good deal on your property, right? You bought it for $300,000, but it's really worth $350,000, all right? So you call up the bank and you say, hey, can I borrow $20,000 of my equity? Because you got $50,000 worth of equity. Everybody understand how that works. You paid $300,000, it's worth $350,000. That $50,000 is your equity. You call the bank and you say, hey, I want to borrow $20,000 because this kitchen is not encouraging me to cook anything. And the bank's going to say, okay, we're going to give you a loan for $20,000. Pull from your equity. That's a HELOC, home equity line of credit, to fix up your kitchen, okay? So, boom, HELOC is a jack. This HELOC is also a mortgage, right? But it doesn't hold the same power as this king, this $300,000 mortgage, right? But, quick lesson real quick. Your primary mortgage and your HELOC, two separate payments, okay? You got your payment, I don't know if it's $2,800 for a $300,000 mortgage. I don't know, you guys. And then you have your payment for this $20,000 HELOC, right? HELOC loans is usually an adjustable rate payment, okay? So a lot of people's feelings are hurt right now because they took out a HELOC in 2021 when interest rates were 2%. And now interest rates are what? 7%, right? I heard one guy say his payment went from like $400 to like $900, okay? So, two separate payments, okay? But they hold two separate ownership power, okay? So, HELOC is down here on the jack position, right? What else is down here? It could be a mechanic's lien. So you got your kitchen fixed up with your $20,000, and you know what? You decided to go to Tulum instead of paying the contractor, right? So he put a mechanic's lien on your house, right? Boom. Now that is another lien that's down here, right? Who else? A judgment, child support, alimony, credit cards. They can put liens on your house, okay? A lien is just basically like, you owe me some money. You owe somebody some money, right? So, y'all, everybody's still with me, right? So we got the three kings that hold position. If you buy any of those, you get ownership of that property. Now, if you buy a HELOC, a mechanic's lien, a judgment, a credit card, you guys, you're going to be mad. You're just going to hurt your feelings because buying a HELOC does not give you ownership of a property, especially if it's a primary loan sitting in front of it, right? Like I said. So, you've got to be very careful about this and check the title, because you might think, because your friend might call you and say, hey, let's go to the auction. It is a $300,000 property going up for auction, and the opening bid is $20,000. And you're going to say, what? You about to put in your 2-week notice because you about to get a $300,000 house for $20,000. In actuality, your feelings are about to be hurt because you're not about to get anything, right? Because what can happen, and what I have seen happen, and I've talked to people, when you have we got the primary mortgage, HELOC mortgage. A lot of people are going to pay this primary mortgage, right? Because, I mean, it's your house, right? But if times get tough, you might not pay this HELOC, right? You're going to be like, well, look, if I got to rob Peter to pay Paul, I'm going to pay the primary, right? And this HELOC might be all right. So I've seen a lot of, and we will see a lot of, HELOC mortgages going into foreclosure, right? I had a lady call me, and she was in foreclosure on her HELOC. And that's what she said. She's like, I'm current on my mortgage. I just haven't been able to pay the second lien, the HELOC. And I was like, ooh, you do not want to buy that at the auction, right? Because buying this HELOC is not going to give you any ownership. You know, you can't go to the people's house and be like, I just bought your second lien. They're going to be like, thank you. Thanks, is what they're going to say, right? You don't have any ownership of that. I hope that made sense. Guys, I've seen like auctions like Target and Chase credit card, like foreclosed, right? You don't want to buy those. You don't want to buy anybody's credit card. So you got to look at the title to make sure you are buying that first lien or one of the three kings. You got, you know, tax sales, primary mortgage. You don't want to buy the jacks. You don't want to buy these down here, okay? But keep in mind, let me real quick, if you buy this primary mortgage, usually the second liens will fall off, okay? Usually. So you can buy a first lien with some second mortgages down here, because after I say going once, going twice, sold, it usually clears that title, okay? So you can buy a first lien with second liens down here, but you cannot buy a second lien with a first mortgage sitting up there. I hope that makes sense, you guys. And that concludes my TED Talk. That concludes my lesson on title searches. If you buy a tax deed foreclosure, you might still need to pay the mortgage lien if they still had a mortgage balance on the property. Same as if you buy the HLN and have mortgage balance. I know that's what that was going to say. So yeah, you have to be very careful, right? And y'all know tax liens are not my thing. Not my thing. I did a master class on the difference between tax liens, tax deeds, but y'all, that is not my thing, right? Like, you got to do your due diligence on that, because, and don't forget that right of redemption. People can come back and reclaim that property. So that's a basic lesson. So when you, let me tell you one more thing. Y'all, I broke it all down in this auction accelerator course. That was a quick version of it, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to find where you all can see. In here, the public notice that's in the paper, right? You'll see a public notice and it'll have like an instrument number with it. That instrument number coincides with the deed at like the county records and deed office, right? So you can see who is the lien holder, right? So when you look at this, look at the instrument number, go online to the county records and deeds site and match the instrument number to the correct lien, right? So if it says Target, you'd be like, ooh, that's not the one I want to buy, right? So that's another way to figure that out. I hope that worked. Yay! I'm so glad. Thank you, you guys. Birthday is the code. January, the price is going up. You guys, almost 100 people have bought that course. It is insane to me. You know, I just know it was needed. That's all I can say. I know the course was needed. Again, I have auctioned off like a $500 property and nobody was there, you guys. Literally nobody was there to buy the property. I had to call somebody and I was like, bring me $501. I'm being serious, like serious. Nobody was even there because y'all don't know where the auctions are. Like, I literally, most people have heard that they auction off properties at the courthouse, right? Everybody's heard that. I heard they auction, even before I became an auctioneer, right? I heard that they auctioned off properties at the courthouse. But I didn't know what the properties were, what time they got auctioned off, how you paid for them. You don't know. Nobody talks about it, right? It's still really hush hush, still really underground. Y'all, that's where like here, a lot of the big players do come to the auction. Like your big property management people come and buy properties at the auction. Hedge funds come and buy properties at the auction. And it's probably because, I mean, you gotta have cash. You know what I mean? So, but that's okay. You buy some REO properties, right? Its link is down below. link is in the description. Every single link that I have is in the description. The auction websites, the post that I put up on Instagram, that link is below. Free auction websites, land, commercial, government owned, and residential, right? All of it's down below. Mentorship, everything down below. What was my point, you guys? Clearly I lost my whole train of thought. Did I miss anybody? But do your due diligence, right? Title search, do your due diligence. Your feelings will be hurt. I don't care if somebody calls you and says they're auctioning off a property for $500. Do your due diligence. Make sure you're not buying a, you know what I'm saying. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people will still buy a property, right? And it's got maybe a lien that doesn't fall off, right? You just count that in your maximum bid amount, right? Like if it's taxes are not included. I just thought of that. Taxes are not included in the winning bid. Okay, not for me. At a tax sale, the taxes are included. But at the courthouse, taxes are not included, okay? So, let's say you're buying a property and you look and the taxes are like $5,000. You know what I mean? If it's still a great property, you just calculate that $5,000 in your repair budget, right? I mean, you'd be like, okay, I just know if I get it, I got to pay these taxes, right? But don't pay the taxes or do any repairs until you get the deed. Deeds and refunds come in the mail, okay, you guys? I don't advise anybody to be very careful about doing repairs and paying taxes until you get that deed in the mail, okay? Especially in these counties and cities where there's right of redemption, okay? Be very careful. Make sure you know your right of redemption laws. That means the homeowner can come back, pay the fees and all that, and get the property back, okay? Foreclosurelaw.org. Foreclosurelaw.org. I think you can check. That's where you can check and see your right of redemption wherever you live, okay? Here, Shelby County, trustee sales, we don't have right of redemption. Once I auction off your property, it is gone. That's what I try to tell people. I try to tell people, look, once I auction off, you better make sure that contract is solid with whoever you signed it with. Because once it's gone, it is gone here in Shelby County. I know in other places, you get like, it's a right of redemption period. So be very careful about that. Be careful about paying taxes and doing repairs when it comes to right of redemption. And don't forget, when the deed comes in the mail, you guys, you have to file it with the county, right? So you can show ownership, so your name can be on the title. When the deed comes, you file it, okay? I don't know, a lot of people didn't realize that, but, and I think it depends on the auction platform, but usually you have to file the deed yourself with the county, okay? Keep in mind, you can buy properties in like your LLC name or your business name. People do that all the time, right? Thank you. I'm going to read your whole comment. I promise I am. But I'm going to lose my train of thought if I don't finish it, and then I'm going to read your comment. And too late. I already lost my train of thought. You got to file the deed. What was I going to say? You got to file the deed. People don't... I forgot already. Let me read. Ashley, happy belated birthday and Merry Christmas. When a property is listed on the public notice, yep. Does the borrower have to pay the full amount of loan balance listed on the public notice? So usually they just need to pay that past due amount, unless like the lender has called that loan due or acceleration clause and want the whole thing. But usually to reinstate that loan, they have to pay the entire past due amount. So for a lot of you who don't know, it should be down low in the comment, Carla. If not, I will look and see. But it should, it's like the third one. Let me go back to your comment. Balance listed. So once a homeowner gets behind, let's say 3 months. Look, for most people, it's like 2 years right now, right? But there comes a point where the lender will not take a partial payment from a homeowner anymore. You know, a lot of people, like, I sent in my monthly payment. I'm trying to catch up, and they sent it back to me. Once you hit a certain point in foreclosure, they won't take a partial payment. They want that entire past due amount, right? So, and then if you can't pay that past due amount, they're going to auction off your property. But it's just that past due, whether it's been 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, that's the amount they want. And a lot of people, what's happening is the moratorium covered a lot of people for 2 years, right? Covered everybody for 2 years. A lot of people came out of the moratorium, right? Or out of forbearance, right? Missed that first payment out of forbearance. And a lot of people went right into foreclosure, right? And when they got that foreclosure notice, it said, you owe this entire past due amount. And they're like, well, I only missed 1 month because I was in forbearance. And they're like, no, you missed 2 years. The whole moratorium amount is now their past due balance. And I've had so many people call me. I feel like that's even what happened with the veterans. Like a lot of people were saying they ended up having to pay that whole past due amount where they thought that was covered under the moratorium. But if you missed that one good payment and you go into foreclosure, your past due amount is not that 1 month you missed. It is that entire moratorium 2 year amount. So most people are behind like $20,000, $30,000 when they go into foreclosure. So a lot of people are just coming out of forbearance, going right into foreclosure. So yes. And Carla, it should be down there. I don't know. I'll send you a message, or you send me a message, but the link should be down there. So yeah, you guys. Okay, I've been talking an hour, you guys. I've literally been talking an hour. Did I answer your question? Just to make sure I answered your question on listed on the public notice. Does the borrower have to pay the full amount of loan balance listed on the public notice? So just the past due amount. Like they need to call the mortgage company, and most people just don't call. They're scared to pick up the phone. They don't open their mail. They don't read the email. Call and, tell them, find out what the past due balance is. And then that's what they need to reinstate their mortgage. It doesn't have to be the whole loan. I mean, unless they call the whole loan due, right? But no, it's usually just the past due amount to reinstate. What else was I going to say? Y'all talked auctions the whole time. Usually I try to talk a little news or something like that. I saw Nike's laying off. They said they had some substantial layoffs coming. It was on daily job cuts, just to let everybody know. This is what I was talking about. Foreclosure. Y'all didn't even let me finish the states. Y'all didn't let me finish the states. It's because I go all around the world with my comments. States, really quickly, and then we'll get off of here. States and cities with the greatest amount of foreclosure starts right now. We've got, of course, Texas with 2,700, California with 2,400, Florida with 2,000, New York with 1,400, and Ohio. But the cities, you guys, these are the cities. New York City, Houston, Texas, Philadelphia with the greatest number of foreclosure starts, right? These are these notice of default, that first filing that banks are putting in. Chicago, Illinois, and Miami, Florida. I know Miami is on the hot list of prices going up, and they also on the hot list for the most foreclosure starts for the month of November. So, just so you know, so maybe I can find my beach house for like $14.23 in Florida. That's the goal, right? So, you guys, did I answer everybody's question? Oh, my 3 recommendations on movies that I think you should watch. Everybody knows them. If you've been here, you know what they are. They are The Big Short. Everybody knows The Big Short, right? The Big Short, 99 Homes. It's a lot of profanity in it. So if you got kids, don't watch it around your kids unless you use profanity around your kids. And The Inside Job. Those are like my 3 top favorite real estate movies right now. Big Short and 99 Homes. Those are movies. The Inside Job is a documentary, you guys. It's a documentary on the real estate crash. They're all real estate crash movies. That's what they all are. So, The Inside Job interviews people who were involved in the crash, like the CEOs and all that kind of stuff. Well, they don't interview any CEOs because, of course, they didn't talk to them, but the people who were involved in it, right? You're welcome. You're welcome. So, you guys, I will be back tomorrow, Christmas Eve. So, if you're wrapping your presents, or if you're cooking, or you just feel like coming on here and listening to me talk about real estate, I will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Time, talking some more. So, bring your questions, bring your coffee or your tea or your wine, whatever you want to bring. I will be back tomorrow. I'm on Instagram, Your Agent Ashley. Yo, I got like 30,000 followers because that one video went viral. Can y'all believe that? Don't worry, I won't act brand new. Do I have to pay the whole 180,000? Brush Color Studio, talk to me. Give me some more. Do you have to pay the whole 100 at the auction? Or have a good evening, brush, or do I get a loan from the bank? Okay, we're talking about auction properties. I'm going to assume auction properties. So if it's an actual auction property, right? Like me at the courthouse, probably auction.com, Hubzu. Yes, you've got to pay whatever that full amount is in cash. However, if it's an REO property, like I said, HUD Home Store, HomePath, Homesteps.com, they take financing. You can get a loan from the bank for REO properties, okay? So when people ask me, Ashley, what about it? Can I bring a pre-approval? Can I do this? Y'all, that's an REO property. When you're dealing with the bank, you can show them your pre-approval letter. You can, have time to withdraw your money from 401k. You can get a conventional loan, REO properties. At the auction, at the courthouse, I need your coins right then and there. The full amount. I always say I don't take deposits, credit cards, pre-approvals. Y'all know I don't take personal checks. No, you gotta have certified funds, a cashier's check. I can get a loan before the auction. Yeah, so look, if you can get the money, you just gotta have the money when you come. That's all I got. If you can get a HELOC, if you can get a personal loan, in whatever can have you with the money when at the auction, absolutely. Yes, you can. You just can't bring a pre-approval letter. But if you get the coin, however you get the coins, that's absolutely how it goes. So, right, I need that much, and then go to the auction and don't go over. There you go. Don't you bid over your amount. Don't you do that. You know how much money, you know what your budget is. You got to stay in it. If the budget's 180, you got to stop at 180, okay? I don't let people go to the bank. Right? So, you got to stop at 180. But yes, can you still put payments on the back of the loan on catching up payments? So, yes, like a modification. I think most people just call their bank. And I think that is what they're probably going to end up doing, like when the government comes out with some assistance for people, probably here at the beginning of the year, they're starting to tack these payments like on the back of the loan, right? Is what they're probably going to try to do. Because I feel like they're not going to. I mean, I don't think they're going to pay everybody's past due payments. But yeah, ask for a modification, ask for assistance. You guys, if you're on here and you are behind on your mortgage, ask for, these banks are not trying to foreclose on you right now. Let me be totally honest with you. I'm like your inside girl, right? Your auction mama. I work for the attorneys, right? I've had attorneys call me literally 3 weeks ago, call me right before an auction, right? The auction was at 10 a.m. They called me at like 8 a.m. and was like, have you talked to the homeowner? And I'm like, I haven't talked to her in months. They're like, call her and see what she want to do. I'm like, her auction is like 10 o'clock. They're like, call her. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm like, y'all really not trying to foreclose on people right now. So, talk to your lender. Communicate with your lender. And I see people who put their house on the market and they're trying to race an auction, right? They're trying to beat an auction by trying to sell their house first. Just call the bank and tell them that you're selling your house. You guys, I got to play both roles, right? I got to be the auctioneer so I can help investors. And I also got to be like your realtor auction mama that tells you what to do. if you are trying to sell your house, call the mortgage company. Tell them you're trying to sell your house. They'll postpone your mortgage. They'll postpone your auction if you tell them you're trying to sell your house. They might say, send me the MLS. Who is your real estate agent? Send me their license number. But they'll postpone your auction if they know you're trying to sell, right? Most of them will. Now, if you didn't curse them out like 10 times, I don't know. But usually, they will postpone it if you are trying to sell your house. So just communicate with them. Most banks are trying to work with you, honestly. Okay? I hope that answered your question, John. I'm looking to get into taking over people's payments subject to. This is a good time for this business in Georgia. Y'all in that subject to, y'all, I don't know how it works. I got a girl in my mentorship right now, you guys, who is about to do a subject to on a property. I told this story on Instagram. The guy bought the house in January 2022, died 2 weeks later, you guys. Died, never made a payment on that house. He died 2 weeks later, right? His house is just now going up for auction next month. Bought January 2022, foreclosure auction is January 2024. Never made a payment. Took 2 years for his house to go up for auction. So she's talking to the son and they're about to do like a subject to so she can catch up their payment. So, but I'm not familiar. I know that's like Pace. That's Pace's lane, right? So I don't act like I know because I don't. But I understand subject to is like assuming it without getting the bank involved, if I'm correct on that. But don't quote me. Thanks, you guys. I think January's live masterclass is going to be on, I don't know, y'all, kind of like REO and auction, but I already did that. I mean, I can do it again. Or it could be like online versus in-person bidding, because a lot of y'all like bid online, you know. So I might do a course on that. They're always free. All my masterclasses are free. You can go watch all of them under my video tab on YouTube. You can go back and watch all of them. They're all free. I inherited my house and I got a little behind on the payments. They were impossible to talk to, refused any request for help. All I wanted was a skip payment so I wouldn't get behind. It depends on that mortgage company. Like, and especially inherited property. I feel like a lot of people who inherit properties go through the most. Like, they really get the runaround from the bank, which is crazy. Like, even the property I was telling you about, like the son, it took forever for the bank to talk to him. And a lot of times, you would think if you do that affidavit of heirship, which a lot of times when somebody dies and leaves you a property, you file that affidavit of heirship, right? And the bank will probably say, send that affidavit and send the obituary. And usually that will let you go ahead and that will authorize them to talk to you. Look, if somebody, like, look, I've had plenty of people, like my clients who are in foreclosure and we need to talk to the bank. If one person does not talk to you, you know what I'm saying? Hang up and call back again and try to talk to somebody else. Or say, put the manager on the phone, right? Try to talk to somebody and let them know that you live in the house, right? If you live in the house. So let them know you live in the house because they will foreclose quicker if they think the house is vacant. So let them know you still live in the house. Let them know you want to keep the house. Let them know to notate your account every time you get off the phone with them. Be like, notate the account that I called and that I'm still in the house and that I still want to keep my house. And even if they don't notate it, it's probably being recorded for training. You don't know what they say. Training, you know. So every time, I don't care if you call 5 different times, tell them to notate the account that I'm living in the house and I want to keep my house. Training purposes. Why couldn't I think of that word? You know, it's being recorded for training purposes. Make sure they get that on the recording that you called and you're trying to stay in your house. Hi, Coach Tanisha, New Jersey. Can you tell me exactly what you do? I guess you missed my introduction, John. It was probably about an hour and a half ago. You guys, I auction off foreclosures at the bank. At the courthouse. I auction off foreclosures for the bank at the courthouse. That is what I do. Here in Memphis, Tennessee, I am the person that says going once, going twice, sold. That is me, right? But while I do that, I also help people who are in foreclosure. Like if they want to keep their house, I literally go to the United Housing Association here and I will train their employees on how to deal with people in foreclosure. because here the United Housing gives assistance to people behind on their mortgage, right? Or people in foreclosure. And so a lot of them just didn't know the process. Like if somebody calls you and says, my house is going up for auction on Friday, they're like, how much time do we have to help them? And so I do both of those. So I kind of like the good guy and the bad guy, right? I auction them off at the courthouse, but I also help people try to keep their properties, right? Or if they want to sell it, then I help them sell it. That's the mentorship. I teach people how to, you know, market to pre-foreclosures. And if they want to sell it, you know, they're first in line to get it. All the links are below. So I hope that tells you kind of what I do. And I've been in real estate since 2006. I got my license in 2006. So I've been doing this for almost 2 decades, right? 2 decades. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. Do you work for the courthouse or for the bank? I work for the attorneys. I am contracted through the attorneys. So here in Memphis, it's about 5 attorneys that handle all of the foreclosures here, Shelby County, surrounding area. I am contracted through 4 with 4 of the 5. I handle a good majority of the ones here in Memphis, Mississippi. I'm in Nashville sometimes. So I'm contracted by the attorneys. I don't work for the courthouse. To answer your question. So, yes, and they can do, deed in lieu. That's another way. Give it back instead of foreclosure. Or you can short sale if you are upside down on your house, you know. There are options. There are options. And I always tell people, exhaust all of your options. Yes, I auction off foreclosures. But y'all, some of y'all got equity in your house. You guys, I always say this. If you cannot get a modification, if you can't go back into forbearance, if you can't catch up that mortgage, right? And you don't want to file bankruptcy, sell your house. Sell it, you guys. I auction off houses all the time with like $100,000, $200,000 worth of equity. You guys, sell it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can absolutely sell your. You can sell all the way up until, so you know, people file bankruptcy the morning of auctions. If you have no other, you can't exhaust any other option, people just file bankruptcy that morning of the auction. Happens all the time, happened last week. File bankruptcy, that will stop an auction immediately. Day of, hours before. So you can sell all the way up until that auction, and then you can file bankruptcy if that is your only option. Does not have the right of redemption. Okay, Tennessee, like, well, Shelby County, we don't have right of redemption on trustee sales. So that's why I said everybody check your right of redemption laws if you're buying at the auction. Did I answer all your questions? I think I did. Yes, so communicate with the bank. After auction, how much time does a buyer have to pay after winning a bid on a house at the auction? John, you don't listen to me. John, I just think you just like me to talk and repeat myself. So, at the auction, John, at the auction, I need all your money as soon as the auction is over. As soon as I say sold, I walk to the side and I take your money in the full amount. That's what I say. It's fine, John. I'm just kidding with you. If the winning bid is $500, $500,000, $5 million, I need it in full as soon as the auction is over. That's the auction, right? REO properties, they give you amount of time like a contract, like 30 days, 30, 45 days. A traditional contract is what they do. So just know at an auction, you got your coins. You got to give all your coins as soon as it is over. Now, some auctions, I think maybe auction.com, I don't know if auction.com do it. Some auctions might, like if you're bidding online, they might give you a little time because you're bidding online, right? So they might give you a little time. But at the courthouse, you guys, I need your coins as soon as the auction is over. Immediately. I need your coins. John, I hope that helped. In a cashier's check, look, John, because you missed it all. You missed it all. Cashier's checks, Make them payable to yourself. This is my pretend cashier's check. See, John, I read your mind. I read your mind. Cashier's check. Make them payable to yourself, right? I guess you could get a money order, but to where they will allow you to sell your home. But if you tell them that you're trying to sell it, they will let you. That's what I'm saying. Don't try to outrun an auction, right? Don't be like, okay, my auction is the 15th. If I hurry up and get it up under contract and close, call them, especially if you got a contract on it. Call them and say, I've got a contract. We're set to close on this date. And they'll say, okay. They might say, send me the contract. And then send them the contract. You know what I mean? But most times they will postpone it. I mean, I even had a bank one time, the deal was getting extended. And they were like, do you need some more time? I'm like, no, you really want me to sell this property? They're like, do you want to find another buyer? I'm like, you are really not trying to foreclose on this people's house. The bank was like, do you want some more time? So communicate. I think that's people's biggest problem is they are just ignoring the bank, right? Call them. They can't ground you. You're not going to be in trouble. You know, tell them what you're trying to do. And most of the time they will work with you, right? In New York, you pay the deposit in 3 days and pay in full later. I believe they give you 30 days. Okay, so cool. So a lot of places they do let you put some up, like a deposit, and then I've heard of that. Like in other places, they let you do it. Here, Shelby County Courthouse, I need all your coins. But like I said, auction.com might let you do it. These other places might let you pay a certain amount and then give you time. You know what I mean? Just read all the terms, condition, fine print, little words. Read all that before you start bidding, right? Because some of them make you put down a deposit, and then if you don't go through with it, then they keep your deposit or something like that. So just read all the terms and conditions, right? Because everybody operates differently. Cashier's check, John. Back to John. John, cashier's check, it's got to be made payable to yourself, right? Make it payable to yourself. In case you don't win the property, you can deposit it back in your bank account easily. If you do win it, you just flip it over, endorse the back. Some people have a stamp, like the auctioneers have a stamp, depending on who it is, right? Also get them in increments, especially if you plan on buying multiple properties. Get cashier's checks in increments, right? Because you never know. You might get lucky and you might just be you at the auction, right? And what if you win the property for like $50,000 and all you have is one cashier's check for $100,000? You got to wait on a $50,000 cashier's check to come in the mail. I mean, $50,000 refund to come in the mail. And if you would have just got some increments, you wouldn't have to wait on that much. Does that make sense? So get increments, make them payable to yourself or your LLC, whatever vesting name you want on it. Yeah, you can buy it in your business name. Like on the registration form that people fill out, it has like bidder name and then it'll have vesting name. So if somebody's bidding on your behalf, they just sign the bidder name. And if you, whatever your business is, Johnson Investments LLC, that can be the vesting name. That's the name that goes on the deed. Okay, vesting name goes on the deed. You can buy it in any name that you want to. Yes, thank you, Joy. Training purposes, you're right. Actually, would you suggest us to do a title search through a title company on every property we bid on? You just got to learn how to read that title, you guys, because that can get expensive, right? I would say maybe, because there's different ways to do title, right? One, you can get my course, and then I teach you how to read the title. Two, there's online places that'll do a title search for you. I don't have any experience with the online title search places, right? But I know there are some. And then you can hire a title company to do that for you. But that can be expensive, right? Depending on, but if it's a new property and you're new to the auction, you just got to be sure to look at that title. So maybe the first one or two out the gate, maybe you can like pay a title company to do the title search and then do like an online title search and compare and see if they're similar, like if they pull the same results. And then if it's cheaper to do like an online title search, do that. And then teach yourself how to read the title. Like it's not insanely hard, right? You just got to make sure you're buying the right lien. right? That's the main thing. You're trying to see that you are getting the correct lien and see if there's any other liens. But most of the time at the auction, again, once I say sold, most things that clears the title most of the time, right? So teach yourself, right? At least start, maybe pay somebody the first time, but then try to ask them if you can get a copy of the title. And then you can kind of train yourself to, you know what I mean, to see if the title is similar, know what you're looking for, look for that first lien, things like that. You know what I mean? Can you speak on, what do you mean? John. John, I'm trying to get off here. It's been 85 minutes. 85 minutes. I have been talking to y'all non-stop. John, I'm going to be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I know y'all might be like wrapping gifts. I've been trying to get off here like the last 20 minutes. And then John came on here asking questions and I couldn't let him go, you know, because I got to answer the questions. John, so, okay, so y'all, I gotta land the plane, don't I? I gotta land the plane. This gonna be a telethon, right? This gonna be a all night. This gonna be QVC on here. So, ask me if you got questions. You know, guys, you know I'm Your Agent Ashley on gmail.com. That's my email. Your Agent Ashley on Instagram. I will be back tomorrow. I'm usually on here live every Sunday, right? So we're gonna have a Christmas Eve special tomorrow. Maybe I'll make like hot chocolate. Probably not, because it's probably gonna get cold by the time I finish talking, right? I won't even drink it because I'll be on here talking to y'all. But anyway, I will be on here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Like, comment, subscribe. I know what y'all gotta do on YouTube. All the links y'all asked me about, the Auction Accelerator course, use code BIRTHDAY. The price is going up in January, y'all. I'm telling you right now. Use code BIRTHDAY. The mentorship link is down there. If y'all need the auction website bundle, it's free, you guys. Just, it's down. It's all, look, I'm just pointing. It's all down there. It's all down there. And if you don't see it or you need help or you can't find whatever you're looking for, I'm so country. I'm real country, you guys. I hear it sometimes. Email me, youragentashley@gmail.com. Okay? You guys, we have been going 87 minutes, you guys. 87 minutes. So this is long enough to watch a movie. And that's a great question for tomorrow. John, come back tomorrow. And if not, just email me, youragentashley@gmail.com. You guys, I think that's it, you guys. We're going to wrap it up. This was the Christmas Eve special. Christmas Eve squared special. You're welcome, you guys. I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. If you don't come back, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy whatever you celebrate, Happy birthday, whatever you got going on, Feliz Navidad, you guys. And if you don't celebrate anything, just have a good, happy Sunday, right? Happy Sunday, happy Monday. Okay, you guys. Drives the banks attorneys. Yeah, bankruptcy for sure. And bankruptcies are up. That'll get me going again, but bankruptcies are up, you guys. So, happy holidays. I gotta wrap presents. You know, I gotta wrap presents tomorrow night. So, happy holidays. I'm signing off. Y'all know how we do this. You know, y'all don't be wanting me to hang up, and I get it. So it's like, no, you hang up. No, you hang up first. You know, like when you was like 15 and 16 on the phone. So, we're gonna hang up on 3, you guys. You have a great holiday too. Imagine that. And Michael and Tess and Tammy and Joe and John. All of you, I see you. And William and Coach Jay and Clary and Isaac. Okay, you guys. See, there I go again. We're hanging up on 3. 1, 2,